What is good, everybody? It is me. It's Ryan. And today I had the very impulsive idea to start a podcast. Okay, and you can hear my buddy. His name is Wilson. He is a artist. Um, you can say whatever, Wilson. Hello, whatever.
Hi, this is Wilson. I'm Ryan's friend.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm gonna try my best not to
uh,
interrupt you.
I mean, should we like list how we met? Like, I'm trying to figure out like
I don't think we need to tell people how we
you know
met.
how we met, like how we knew each other, how long we've known each other.
Well, I mean, we've known each other for like years now. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
it's been a long time I've known Wilson. It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but anyway,
yeah.
so I think
Yeah.
today what I want to talk about is kind of what a career looks like or what we think it should look like in the arts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me, I've already kind of started my career as a composer. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I first published my piece De Passe when I was 16. It was sophomore year of high school, and it was with Imagine Music Publishing out in New York. I just so happened to submit a piece over there, and they thought it was worthwhile, so they took me on. And then a year later, I published Manifesto for Wind Band, which was my first big wind band piece. Which, looking back, it's just not that good. But I mean, it was something that was still, I guess, playable. Maybe not for a high school group. I'll tell you, unless they're really good. But when I started my career, a big thing was I was stubborn. Like you talk about like I did not want to take no for an answer for like anything, and I'm still that way, you know. So, um, Wilson, tell us a little about what you do. You know.
Uh, so as of right now, I am being educated in college for pre-vet. So
Mhm.
I'm definitely gonna wanna take up veterinary
Mhm.
sciences as a career path, but on side gig, my strongest passion, I should say, goes to art,
Mhm.
more specifically digital art. I've been doing it for a few years already, and I'd say I've driven up some success. I mean, I've completed a commission
Mhm.
like a few days before. I'm going to be working on right. I'm going to be working on one as we're talking, and
Mhm.
Uh, I've also just set up all the platforms I need. So yeah, no, I'd say I've gotten a good head start on being an artist in the online community.
Um, One thing I want to kind of talk about for a quick second is you're going to
Hmm.
college for pre-vet with the
Yeah,
intention of going full vet. Is that how that goes?
yeah, that is how it works, sorta, like in a nutshell.
Mm. So let me ask you this question, and I know we already discussed this before. Like we hit record because like we were already like going into it before we even hit record. Um, why did you not go for a degree in like the arts instead of well, why did you go for a degree
Ooh.
in vet instead of the arts?
So the biggest I say factor is financial stability. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously, as an artist, your your services aren't going to be as solid as if you were say like a doctor. Like when you're a doctor, you always have patients coming in because it's disease, everyone's going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But as an artist, like uh some people might just not need it because it's not like a a service that is totally required.
Mm-hmm.
And for places that do require art, like game studios, they require such high level of mastery and expertism and professionalism to the point where it's really hard to get anywhere as an artist. So that's two things, but I'd also say one more thing is stigma.
Mhm.
So as a child of an immigrant family from China, uh, art is this little stingy idea. Like being an artist,
Yeah.
like yeah, like oh, why can't you be a lawyer or a doctor or any of other these good careers? Like you're not gonna have a good life if you don't have a stable income, and so on and so forth. Yeah, those are my three reasons.
Those are actually solid reasons, and I'll tell you this: I'm going for a degree in music education besides composition for that very reason of financial
Hmm.
stability, right? Um,
Hmm.
with a degree in composition, um, for one, I mean, I guess you can take the praxis with a composition degree, maybe, and like get your teaching license. But I feel like every band director wouldn't look at you seriously because it's like, well, why didn't you take the education classes? And why are you trying to work
Hmm.
here without a music ed degree? And so I definitely get where you're coming from with like financially, like you don't know for sure, like,
You're not gonna know for sure when you're going to turn a buck.
mm-hmm, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and then,
And even when you do, it's going to be like insanely hard
mm-hmm,
because competition's fierce.
yeah, in the
Also, workload's immense.
yeah. Um, Also in like the music, like in the band world, right? We have this
Hmm.
weird thing where most of the music that gets sold is what we call educational music, which I'm not against. Like I think it serves its purpose with like those younger
Hmm.
bands that don't play as well as those
Hmm.
bands that are playing like grade fours, grade fives. It has its
Hmm.
purpose. Going all the way down to the grade point five. I believe it has its purpose. But when you're used to writing just whatever you want, and then you're expecting people to buy it, and it's not being marketed as educational music. Um, you can't unless you're like well established. You can't expect it to be bought and performed unless it's for like a college band premiering it or playing it. Because that's like with one of my
Hmm.
pieces right now. Stewart's Ballet is going to get premiered down in Columbus
Hmm.
on the 15th of April, and that's not educational music at all. Like there's, you know, even down there, there's some things in rehearsals that they're struggling with, like um, inharmonic pitches and things like that, and trying to work that out. Um, and then yeah, with commissions, those are unpredictable as well. Yeah,
Right. So, could I ask how you got like how did you get into music? Like what what point in your life made you think music is something I want to do? Like I don't want to just be a passion of mine. I want it to be a career.
that's a good question. That goes way, way back. I mean, that is like when I was like 4 or 3 years old. My dad, he was a musician and he played
Oh.
all that boogie woogie stuff, and like he played like Elvis and did like Jerry Lee
Mhm.
Lewis and stuff like that, and that was something I admired from him. Um, and then later on, when I was about 7 or 8, um, I really took joy in being in music class. Because I don't want to. I think it was maybe because I took pride in what I came from. I was
Mhm.
also born in Clarksdale, which a lot of people know that's where a lot of music comes from as well. A lot of the blues, like you hear about the
Mhm.
crossroads, you'll hear about Clarksdale. And part of that is the pride of what I come from, and then the other part,
Heritage.
yeah, I guess you could say heritage. And then the other part is like, um, if you go, it was just something that naturally came to me. Music, I never struggled with like music theory. It usually came easy to me. And when I was like 8, I wish I still had them because it would have been cool to be pull it up and be like, "Hey, this is what I had." When I was like 8 years
Mm.
old, um, I try to write out like pieces on like notebook paper. I would like make the 5 lines and then try to like write notes on it. Like even though I didn't know what it meant. I mean, that's a memory I still have, and like I was like, wow, you know, who would have thought,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, so yeah, when I knew it was gonna be more than just a passion, it was gonna be something I was gonna try and do for the rest of my life. That's when I knew, cause it just, I, I guess the only way to put it is I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Mm.
So let me ask you the same question. Um,
Uh.
or well, let me ask
Oh
you.
man, you might want to jog my memory because I'm to be frank, I forgot what I said.
Yeah, I'll remind you. So with you and art, which I know you've kind of established, like, hey, you might not necessarily do it for a living, but this is something that you do, I guess, on the side. Is that
Yeah.
is that accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. It's something I'd rather do on the side.
Okay. Where do you think your passion of art came from?
Well, that's that's actually an awfully good question. I'm trying to figure out how it all started so I can get a better answer, but I think I just got curious. Like during COVID, I was attending an art class and uh it's going to sound pretty funny, but the teacher made a pretty good comment on a piece I made, and it got me thinking. Hey, it's COVID. I don't got much else to do, and I'm stuck inside. And I got a what? I got a computer that can fold up into a tablet and has like a pen, so I could
Mm-hmm.
do digital art. So from there, I just started basically doing digital art, and I met what? And then briefly after, in one of the Discord servers I was in, there was an admin who was absolutely phenomenal with digital art. I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
like she was great. Like I'm still aspiring to be someone like her because
Yeah.
man, she was one of my biggest inspirations. So yeah, I just stuck to it, and I'm going like what 2019 up to now. That's 5 years.
5 years
Actually, no,
strong.
I didn't start. I mean, not exactly 5 years because 2019 later turned into 2020.
Yeah.
So then after 2020 finished, I went to 2021. So I started in 2021 rather. That's when the lockdowns began happening in my county. So 2021 to now it's like I don't want to say 3 years because this year just started, but like yeah, like two and a half maybe.
I think that's about
So yeah.
accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I just kept to it, and I found out that I enjoy drawing furries, and I just kept going, and I kept going, and then that's it.
Yeah. Um.
It's just something I enjoy.
Um. You had mentioned something that I really want to hit on.
Mhm.
You had said there was like an admin in like a Discord server or whatever, and that made me think about mentors. So let me ask you, like, have you had any
Ooh,
like good mentors in these past like 2.5 years?
mentors. Well, yes, I have actually. Besides that one admin,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I decided to pick up my skills at a place that does art, like a little drawing academy, I guess you can call it.
Mhm.
It was a bit of like a smallish program. Um, at, like anyone from all ages was able to attend, and I attended when I was like 16, 17 ish. I became friends with the establishment, the owner of the establishment's
Mhm.
son. Uh, Really cool guy. He was an amazing artist, and it was funny because he was younger than me, and he had like more years of experience behind him, which is like, god damn.
Yeah.
Dude was absolutely cracked, and I'm like, you're younger, but I'm still inspired.
Yeah.
But other than that, there was also an instructor there who kind of got me into just figure drawing, and I just took his lessons to heart. I still think about uh, what he taught me today. Like I go back to some of my sketchbooks, look what he did different to mine, and I try to like apply it to my future works. So yeah, no, it's
Mhm.
quite the pivotal moment. I should also add just m- my biggest appreciation, like what really got me through all this, because I know some people might want to start out some sort of passion project, but when you go off of a feeling, it's almost temporary.
Yeah.
Like you start with a feeling, once you stop feeling it, it's over. Like what really kept me going was uh the fact that it felt like it was free choice to me.
Yeah.
Like I felt like for a while that uh my family, like coming from an immigrant family, Chinese, we had certain standards and everything had to be like controlled. Like I was pretty much raised in an environment of control. I wasn't allowed to do certain things. I was told to have like certain viewpoints of people,
Mhm.
which wasn't all that great for me, and it was a tough childhood
Yeah.
because of those restrictions. And there was a point where when I picked up the pen, I just said they haven't said a thing about art. They just said don't take it seriously, but like shit, I'm
Yeah.
taking it seriously because now I have like that choice. Like it's literally the freedom of choice, and from there I grew it into a skill, and ever since then I'm just proud of it. I want to keep going because this all came down from a choice that I made
Mhm.
and no one else said. But yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
that's really good.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um
I'm trying to figure out a question to ask you. I guess w- what was your drive? Let's say that. Like what kept you making music? Like we already know like you like it,
mhm.
obviously, but like what continued your drive? What was your fuel?
That is a really good question. Um
Hmm.
and it'd be no surprise cuz I've been writing music for like band and all the chamber ensembles and all that. I've been doing that since I was like 13. I downloaded
Hmm.
MuseScore or whatever and just kind of went on from there. And there was one year that I didn't write almost anything. Um, and I don't want to sound like one of those like people that's trying to be hard or whatever, but
Hmm.
I think what's more important than like motivation is discipline. There were times
Hmm.
where I was like down in the dumps, like I was really going through it, and during that time was actually when I wrote Depasse, and when I submitted it and I got the results back, I was really happy. While that happiness didn't last long, but I mean, it felt good, that I accomplished something, and
Hmm.
the fact that I know that the work that I put in, no matter what, I'm gonna see some type of result. It doesn't matter if it's delayed or if it's only for a short time to where, okay, I guess we need to keep on going. Um, another thing that has kept me going is like the people around me. Um,
Right, like your dad, right? Because he also had a music background.
well, um, he did, and he has been like a very big support for what I do. Um, and so is my mother. It took, even though for her it might have took her a little bit to understand that, hey, I'm
Hmm.
not doing the norm. Uh, like for example, like I participate in a band at the W down in Columbus, and that's a 2-hour drive every week to be at rehearsal. And
Hmm.
at first, my mama was like, "No, that's too much. That is too far. You cannot do that." But my dad was the one that was like, "No, you can, son. Like it's okay. It's gonna be okay." And like,
Hmm.
and then like my family, they every time I see them, they always compliment my stuff. They always, they say, "Hey, I seen how you're doing this or what you did there. We're really proud of you." And things like that, like the support of other people. And even if I didn't have the other people in my life to support me, I know that there are people that are outside of my family that are like pushing me to do what I'm doing, like my band directors, those staff, and then all the other like um, teachers I had, like educators, because
Hmm.
educators play a big part in who we are, um,
Of course.
and they have done that for me. So like if you've ever taught me, like I'm deeply appreciative of you, you know. So that's kind of what been
Right.
my that was kind of my drive was, you know, one was obviously like I said, discipline over motivation, and then two, seeing that the work I put in does put out results, and three, the people around me that love and
Right.
support me, that's what keeps me going.
Hmm. I think that was beautifully said. Of course, just the immense support. Like it might seem just like a normal comment to most people, like
Mhm.
a normal compliment, but it is perhaps one of the best things you could say to an artist
Mhm.
because that that one or those few words can really go for a while. They can take you for a long time.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah. But
So now I'm just gonna keep on talking on some good points that were brought up. Um. Talking about mentors, right? Mentors are like the foundation of who I am. Like my band directors are big mentors for my writing. Um, People outside of my direct kind of faculty, I guess. There are plenty of those that have come up for me and have absolutely just been like the biggest support for me as a writer, and I'm deeply, deeply thankful for these people because I wouldn't be here writing music. Like I would have quit a long time ago and just decided to go do something that I really didn't want to do, such as like freaking electrical engineering or whatever, um, or like carpentry. Um, those are skills I still want. I want to learn, because I want to be, better for myself as like an individual. Of hey, you can be useful, right? You don't just have to sit there and freaking write music. You can actually do other stuff. And one of those things is like automotives, right? Like I didn't understand how much I love working on cars and stuff, or like trying to figure them out until like this year. Me and my buddy Tyler would sit there and like work on my vehicle, like do oil changes on it. Trying to right now we're trying to find like sensors on it and stuff that got messed up during this little snow apocalypse we had not too long ago. And I mean, you sit there and think about it. I mean, when you do music as like work, at the end of the day, you need to find another hobby. like whether that's like working out, because I do work out a little bit too, because I kind of have to stay in shape. And I went on like a 1 or 2 month hiatus, and now I'm suffering the consequences of that 1 or 2 month hiatus, because right now I'm having to get back into the gym so that I can get my gains back from earlier, so I can go back at it. Because at first I weighed, when I was at my peak, I weighed like 165, which is the ideal weight for my height. Okay, so we get that. Right now I weigh 150, 161, 145, 146, something like that. Okay, that's not ideal. Okay, so the main reason I got that 160 was because I would literally eat Taco Bell every day, and it would work. But I digress. I'm rambling about working out right now when this is supposed to be about having a career in music. Well, I mean, it is relevant because you have to have, yeah, that working out is my side hobby, and so is like automotive crap. And music is kind of my job. That's kind of what I do for work, more or less. Um, and then another thing that we touched on a little bit was like sustainability. Like, how do I sustain myself as a composer or as a person that writes music? Good question. I honestly can't give you the answer, right? Because, I'm gonna be living with my parents for like another couple months, and then I get shipped off to basic training for like till like early November, and then give or take 2 months to do whatever I want, and then next thing you know, I'm getting ready for college in that next December. So, a lot of my money right now is coming from a tiny bit of like commission work, and then I get like a little drill check for like RSP and stuff, and then that's pretty much it. You just manage it well, and you can stretch it out. That's what I got to work with. Um, I can't see myself doing anything else. Be quite frank with you, like there are other careers I've looked at throughout my life that don't involve music at all. Like, at one point, I wanted to be like a state trooper, and I'm still, if music, if all this like goes to fail, then obviously I have backup plans. If I decide I don't want to teach anymore, like, because I said I was going to go for a music ed degree, obviously I have something to fall back onto, which is probably going to be like a state trooper or something like that. Um, I also do like a little pressure washing business in the spring and summer months, but it will be cut short because obviously I have to go in June. Right, so a lot of that, sustaining yourself as a writer or composer is going to come down to like, I think it's going to come down to how much you like dedicate yourself and how much you know how to work the business. If you don't know how to work the business side of things, I don't think you'd get anywhere. But obviously, take what I have to say as a grain of salt. I've never been there, done that, 100%. You know, um, I'm hoping I can do this for the rest of my life. Um, but a lot of it is going to come down to, I guess, how well I can do the business side of things and all that other mess that comes with being a composer and whatnot. Um, I can, when you look at um, folks my age, like I recently just turned 18. So I mean, everybody is looking at you now, or I'll put it this way: typically, people look at people our age now, and they go, "Okay, what are you gonna do for the rest of your life? How are you going to make everything work? What are you going to do with your life? This, that, and the other. And I mean, rightfully so. But a lot of these folks haven't started thinking about what they wanted to do until literally the day they turn, like the day after they turn 18. They're not fortunate enough to be in my position where they know what they want to do for the rest of their life by age freaking 14 or 15. Like I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. Like you expect children to know what they want to do all of a sudden by age 18, right? So, I don't think that makes a ton of sense, to be quite frank with you. But you could also be like, well, Ryan, like that's asking for a lot at 18, or asking for a lot early on to be like, I know what I want to do by like age 14 or age 13. Yeah, that is a lot. That is a lot. And I'm not trying to say there's nothing wrong with knowing what you want to do by like age 13 or 15 or whatever. But I feel like the more you put off soul searching, trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, um, I feel like the more you put it off, the more you're putting yourself at risk for being surprised when you get to college and they're like, okay, what do you want to major in? And you're like, I don't know. So they usually have programs that are like, okay, they're like gen ed or like freshman studies or whatever, where you're basically just getting all your prereqs out for like your general prereqs out. Um, but and I guess that comes down to like having direction for your life as well. What is it in life that you want? Like, do you want to be in a carefree world? I know I don't, because I chose that I'd rather do music ed and don't make a whole lot of money teaching than like business, where I can go and start a business or whatever, or maybe I don't know how that works. Like, I'm not a business person, but or accounting, you make good money doing that, I guess. Like, what you can't sit there and expect a child to all of a sudden know what they want to do at 18 when they haven't been given the opportunity to know what they want to do. Um, how does that correlate to me and my career as a writer? Well, I knew what I wanted to do since I was 4. I didn't want to do anything else. Is that to say that people are wrong for not wanting to know what they want to do by age 4? No. But what I am saying is, if you don't find direction for your life early on, okay, then I don't think you're setting yourself up for success. Because there are things that you could be doing at 15, 16, 17, 18 to be setting yourself up for success later on. Like, for example, if you want to be a nurse, go ahead and take human A&P in like high school. Learn how to do all that memorization crap. Because that's all that freaking nursing is. If you want to be a doctor, then take all them fancy biology classes in high school. Do some research or something. I don't know. For me, it's looking at all the greats prior to me. Like, my biggest, who I used to nerd over, was like Vincent Persichetti. And most of y'all, normal people that know me, well, I don't want to say normal people like they aren't normal, but like most of y'all, like non-music people. I don't want to imply that y'all aren't musical either, because everybody's musical in some way, you know. But for most of y'all that like like you don't listen to like 20th century music or whatever, like, which is understandably so. Like, um, like Vincent Persichetti was like my guy. Like that was who I looked up to as like an individual and as a like somebody in their work, somebody in their craft, right? For doctors, I don't know who that would be for y'all. Whoever did the first heart transplant, I guess, is who you can look up to. You know, you can look up to like for nurses. I don't know. I don't know who you look up to. Maybe your parents who are nurses, or your mom or grandma that's a nurse. Uh, or for people that like electricians, there's probably an electrician in your life right now, or somebody that knows how to do that stuff. So reach out and ask. That's another thing that has shaped me into who I am, into like trying to make a sustainable career out of this. Is I've reached out to so many people over the years. Over these past 4 years, I've reached out to my choir director, my band, all my band directors. I've reached out to the band director at like Northwest before, like Mr. Brownlee before he retired. All the band directors at like Ole Miss. I reached out to Professor Z down at the W about my work. You know, I've made attempts to make not only just make myself known to these people, but to get feedback from these people, because these are people I look up to and respect. In order to make yourself better at the craft that you're trying to do, you have to reach out to other people that have been there and done that. You cannot have a career without a mentor. Like there's no way at all that you cannot have a career without having a mentor that either has been there, done that, or is that's pushing you along. If you don't have anybody pushing you along, that's fine, but it's gonna be a whole lot harder, whole lot of heck of harder. You know, I grew up stubborn, very very stubborn, just like my mama and just like my grandmama, very stubborn. Um, I wouldn't be here today if I wasn't stubborn, and I don't mean like unteachable. But I mean, I guess a better word would be determined, because you don't take no for an answer. If you take no for an answer, you've already given up. What's the point of going on if you're going to stop at just a no? And you can apply that to a lot of things in life, I think. Um, like if you're like one of those people that white collar workers, right, and you're trying to move your way up, in the company, right? You got to not take no for an answer. You got to be going out there trying to make the connections. You have to go and try to be the person that you want to be. I could go on and on and on about that. There is so much knowledge in other people out there. It's up to you whether you want to go out there and get it. Most of the time, it is readily available. People want to help. If they are stuck up and they don't want to help, then they're probably not that good. They're probably not as good as they say they are. Because no person gets to that place and isn't humble, like, oh my goodness, there's people that have helped me tremendously to get to where I am. So it would be a disservice if I didn't try to help other people try to get where I am. One of my favorite bass players, Victor Wooten, he had said something in like a TED Talk. He had said, something along the lines of like, when people recognize greatness, right, it's not your job to keep them down there. Essentially, if they can see greatness in you, that means they can see up high. And it's your job to try and take them down and bring them up with you. It's your job to take them down and bring it up with you. Right. Because we're all in this together. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care if you identify as a woman and you're born biological male. I don't care about any of that. I don't. I might not agree with things that some people say. But you know what? It's okay. Because I still love you. I'm not going to hate somebody just because of where they're from, what they believe in, or anything of that matter. And that's another important thing when trying to build a career, is loving people no matter what. There's a lot of people I didn't have a great relationship with going through high school. And stuff like that can affect your career. I think so. Because when you're holding on to things like unforgiveness, bitterness, and all that mess, like he or she done me so wrong. You know what? Maybe they did. Maybe they did do you wrong. But you're going to let that hurt stop you from chasing after becoming better. You're going to let that be a roadblock. You're going to let it be an emotional and mental roadblock. And you can't think straight because of it. Hurt people, y'all. Hurt people do hurt people, Because I know I've hurt people because I've been really hurt. And I know I'm kind of veering off a little bit. And I'm not trying to preach at nobody, but, you cannot, and I mean you cannot hold unforgiveness against people. You cannot. Because it will affect, it's not just going to affect your career. It's going to affect all areas of your life. Your social life, your work life, your relationship life, friendship life, you name it. It's going to affect hurt will affect everything in your life, and it will keep you bound from being the best that you can be. So, I don't care what he or she did to you. Let go. Because it's going to affect you in the long run more so than now. And I think that's a good place to end it off. Just a little I guess I don't want to say it's a soapbox. Excuse me. I'm going to keep that in because this is unedited for the most part. Excuse me. I done got the hiccups. But if you sat through this all this, I appreciate you. I want to give a big thanks to my buddy Wilson. I want to give a big thanks to everybody that has been a mentor to me or has affected me positively in some kind of way. I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate you. Deeply. I wouldn't be who I am or where I am or where I'm at without you. It's not more so about me than it is you, and the testament to who it is you are as a parent or as a mentor or as an educator. I'm here because of you. Thank y'all. Have a good night, evening, whatever time of day it is. Thank you.